Last time we stopped at 154.3, 30. All beings shall be to thy life my emissaries, drawn to me on the bosom of thy friend, compelled to meet me in thy enemy's eyes. My creatures shall demand me from thy heart. So there are three things: creatures, me, and thy heart. So if you want to approach this me, you have to approach through this heart. You cannot approach him directly. My creatures shall demand me from thy heart. That is the passage. The passage to the Supreme is to the heart of Savitri. So that is the greatness of Savitri. Thou shalt not shrink from any brother's soul, obviously. Because after all, it is his creation. There is nothing small, bad, good, evil, sinful, nothing of that kind at all. It is his, in different modes of expression. Therefore, you shall not shrink from any brother's soul. Thou shalt be attracted helplessly to all, whether you like it or not. It will be so always. Man, seeing thee, shall feel my hands of joy. In sorrow's pangs, feel steps of the world's delight. Their life experience is tumultuous shock in the mutual craving of two opposites. Mutual craving of two opposites, of good and evil, of, you can say, matter and spirit, or whatever you want to call it, you see, between two opposites. It is through you that people will feel the hands of joy, my hands of joy, see, experience my hands of joy. Man, seeing thee, shall feel my hands of joy. Hearts touched by thy love shall answer to my call. Discover the ancient music of the spheres in the revealing accents of thy voice, and nearer draw to me because thou art. So this is really the greatness of Savitri. This is really the dynamic greatness of Savitri. Hearts touched by thy love shall answer my call. Discover the ancient music of the spheres. Music of the spheres, of course, that is this music which was made famous by Pythagoras. The celestial objects, planets, they are moving with a kind of a music. Their movements are musical movements. Therefore, there is a kind of rhythm in the celestial organization of the whole thing. So that is the ancient music. But this music is more ancient than what Pythagoras had heard. Pythagoras heard. We don't hear. We have to develop our ear. That is true. We have to develop our ear. But here, the point is, discover the ancient music of the spheres. The phrase music of the spheres is definitely Pythagoras' phrase. And he used to hear that music. In fact, the harmony of numbers, that was the foundation of his entire philosophy. This is a kind of a harmony of numbers. And that music gets related with the movement of the spheres in the sky. Because they are celestial objects, because they are heavenly objects, therefore their movements have to be perfect. Therefore, they have to be harmonious. And it is that harmony which he was trying to see in numbers, in the theory of numbers, you see, Pythagoras. But the point is, did Pythagoras hear or discover what Savitri is going to reveal. In the revealing accents of thy voice, this revealing accent of Savitri's voice was not available to Pythagoras. And therefore, it is really doubtful whether he heard that ancient enough music with the spears. He heard, all right, some echo, some notes, something here and there, but the full contents of that music of the spears he would not be able to hear because that revealing voice of Savitri is not there. This is the possibility of the future. Because thou shalt love, it shall happen. It has not happened. In the revealing accents of thy voice, and nearer draw to me, because thou art. Enamored of thy spirit's loveliness, they shall embrace my body in thy soul. They, of course, hers here, which stands for men, alien. They shall embrace my body in thy soul, here in thy life, the beauty of my love. Know the thrill, the bliss with which I made the world. So body, life, everything is because of her. All that thou hast shall be for others' bliss. Because you don't need anything for yourself. Whatever you have or whatever you are going to get is for others. You don't need anything for yourself. All that thou art shall to my hands belong. I will pour delight from thee as from a jar. I will whirl thee as my chariot to the way. I will use thee as my sword and as my lyre. I will play on thee my minstrelsies of thought. What a macro. Powerful. And poetically, all these 4 lines are very well built, very well balanced. You see, I will pour delight from thee as from my jar. So you are the jar. And through that jar, I will pour delight, my delight. I will whirl thee as my chariot to the ways. It's my free will, and it will drive you wherever I want you to go. You see, I will use thee as my sword and as my lyre, both to conquer difficulties, to remove all the obstacles on the way, and to also play music. I will use thee as my sword and as my lyre. I will play on thee my minstrelsies of thought. So that is that's the thought part of it. Here you had first life, body, now the thought part of it, you see. Metrically, I will pour delight from thee as from a jar. I will whirl thee as my chariot to the ways. I will use thee as my sword and as my lyre. I will play on thee my minstrelsies of thought. Metrically, it is very well balanced construction, you see. Now, in the opening, in all these 4 lines, the opening phrase, opening foot is 3-syllabled foot. I will pour, I will whirl, I will use, I will play. That's the first foot. Second, delight from thee as from a jar. That is how the line is scanned. I will pour, we'll come to that first secondly. Delight I am from thee. See, thee takes a kind of an accent here, although it is not normally, but here in the flow of diction, thee takes a kind of a weight. So I will pour delight from thee as from a jar. So you have got here, I am, again another I am, then a Pyrrhic, and again an I am, a jar. I will whirl thee as my chariot to the waves. I will use thee as my sword and as my lyre. Now, I will pour, I will whirl, I will use, I will play. See, if you see the manner in which the delivery or the speech is made, I will say that all the three words get stressed. I will pour, I will whirl, I will use, I will play. It is a kind of an emphatic phrase in all the three cases. It's not, I will pour. It's not like that. I will pour. It's not, I will whirl. It's not, I will use. I will play. It's not that. I will pour. I will whirl. I will use. I will play. In other words, all these three, so all these four phrases, I will pour, I will whirl, I will use, I will play, they are stressed syllables. Or the food is called, what is called molossus. When the three, all the three are stressed, I will pour. I will pour. All of them are stressed. Therefore, the first foot in all the four lines is made up of stressed syllables, accented. I will pour, I will whirl, I will use, I will play. It is that kind of a thrust which gives force to the action further. I will pour delight from thee as from a jar. I will whirl thee as my chariot to the waves. I will use thee as a sword and my lamb. I will play on thee my minstrelsies of thought. So while the opening foot is kept the same, there are variations in the subsequent lines to make the meter flow, to make the poetry flow smoothly enough, basically, without making it monotonous, repetitive. When thou art vibrant with all ecstasy, when she will be vibrant with all ecstasy? When she will be vibrant with all ecstasy? She will be vibrant with all ecstasy when he will pour delight, when he will whirl her, when he will use her, when he will play on her missiles of thought. When all that is done, then she will be vibrant with all ecstasy. And when thou livest one spirit with all things, oneness, then will I spare thee not my living fire, but make thee a channel for my timeless force. You are in time. You are working the process of time. But I have the timeless force. It is that timeless force which will move in you. I will make thee a channel for my timeless force. Make thee a channel for my timeless force. The divine Savitri, her force, the force of divine Savitri, the transcendental Savitri, it is that force which will move, which will flow in the human Savitri. Let's go back to 154.5. Last three lines of 154.5. I lay my hands upon the soul of flame. I lay my hand upon the heart of love. I'll yoke thee to my power of work in time. 154.5, last three lines. See again here, I lay my hands. This is not I lay, this is not I lay my hands. In contrast to I will pour. I lay my hands upon thy soul. I lay my hands upon thy heart. I yoke thee to my power of work in time. Whom is he yoking? With whom? He is not yoking her with himself. He is yoking her with his force. The Supreme is yoking Savitri with his force. I will yoke thee to my power. Here also the same thing. Here we have exactly the same thing here also. I make thee a channel for my timeless force. Yog thee to my power is reflected here exactly in the same manner that he will make her, Savitri, the human Savitri, a channel for his supreme force, for timeless force. So actually it is not he who is going to work in her. It is his force who will work in her. But make thee a channel for my timeless force, my hidden presence, let thee, unknowing on, from thy beginning in earth's voiceless bosom, from thy beginning in earth's voiceless bosom, that is where Savitri starts his work. Since the beginning of the earth, whenever and wherever there was a possibility of divine manifestation, I was there. Since the beginning of the earth. From thy beginning in earth's voiceless bosom, through life and pain and time and will and death, through life and pain and time and will and death. How insistent he is, you see. Throughout the shocks and in the silences, along the mystic roads of space and time, to the experience which all nature hides. Who hunts and seizes me, my captive grows. This shalt thou henceforth learn from thy heartbeats. Now, who hunts and seizes me, Savitri is hunting him. Savitri is seizing him. Therefore, she shall henceforth learn from her heartbeats. My captive, this shalt thou henceforth learn from thy heartbeat. Your heart will always tell me, heartbeat will always tell me that you have seized me, you have hunted me, you have seized me. Always. Forever. Love, O beautiful slave of God. Forever love, O beautiful slave of God. So this is the most famous line, you see. Love, of course, he is addressing to Savitri. Forever love. Who is she? Beautiful slave of God. Savitri is the slave of God. Savitri is given to carry out the will of the Supreme. Whatever he wants, she shall do. She shall accomplish that. Therefore, she is a slave. She is the executive power, and the executive power will work according to the will of the Supreme. Whatever he wills, she will carry it out. Therefore, she is a slave. And of course, she is beautiful because she is carrying out the will of the Lord. There cannot be anything more beautiful than that, to execute the will of the Lord. Therefore, she is beautiful. Oh, beautiful slave of God. Now, slave of God, slave is a phrase, is a word, phrase which occurs repeatedly in a record of yoga. And Kali, she is described as Dasi. Dasi means slave. She is the slave. Kali is the slave of God, of the Supreme. She will execute, put into dynamism, into activity, whatever her Lord wants her to do. That is in the transcendental. But now this is being carried out in a mortal world by Savitri. Savitri has become that Kali on earth, that Dasi on earth, to execute, to carry out the will of the Lord in earth. The slave of God is a very, I think I got some examples here, but Krishna and Kali, record of yoga. There are a number of examples there. In fact, this occurs repeatedly. In fact, Shivananda says in the record of yoga, Dasya Bhava, the mood, the state, the poise, the condition of being the slave. Dasya means of slavery. Bhava, the way of doing things in the will of the Lord, that is the Dasya Bhava. It is something different than surrender. To implicitly obey what is being told to you by the Supreme, that is the Dasya Bhava. O lasso of my rapturous widening noose, become my cord of universal love. So that noose, that lasso becomes something to pull you in love, universal love. You see. Universal love is a lasso now. You see. O lasso of my rapturous widening noose, become my cord of universal love. The spirit ensnared by thee, forced to delight of creation's oneness, sweet and fathomless. The spirit ensnared by thee, forced to delight of creation's oneness. So everywhere it is being emphasized, creation's oneness, which is sweet and fathomless, and compelled to embrace my myriad unities and all my endless form and divine soul. So everywhere it is divine, divine, divine. But divine in the sense of individuals with a distinct character, with something which is of a very definite nature of its own. Compelled to embrace my myriad unities and all my endless form and divine soul. O mind, grow full of eternal peace. O word, cry out the immortal litany. Build the golden tower, the flame child born. Now this whole passage, whole section 154, this is what the mother has recited. It is available in mother's voice, complete. Build the golden tower, the flame child born. Pardon me? Yes. Mother's is there. Is there. I think it is there on the site also, our site also. Not music. Her recitation only. Her recitation alone is used. O mind, grow full of eternal peace. She wanted peace, so yes, the peace is assured. O word, that is the dynamic creative power, the executive power, not creative, the executive power. Cry out the immortal litany. Build the golden tower, the flame child born. Litany. Series of invocations, each followed by unvarying response. Litany. Invocation after invocation with the response completely. O word, that is the invocation, incoming in answer. Cry out the immortal litany. And the response is there, the petition, whatever you want. And in that process, because it is the word, the dynamic executive aspect of it, therefore build is the golden tower, the flame child born. Flame child, Agni Balaka, Agni Putra, Agni Balaka. Balaka means child, baby. Flame, of course, Agni Balaka. So the divine Agni has taken birth because of Savitri singing out that immortal litany. And there is the response to that. See. O mind, grow full of the eternal peace. O word, cry out the immortal litany. Build the golden tower, the flame child born. Build the golden tower. Well, there were attempts earlier to build a ladder which will reach the city of God. The biblical ladder ladder of Jacob, which will go and reach the city of God, clouds above. There are some beautiful pictures also of that ladder, see. But the ladder didn't really rise that high enough, you see. Now here is an assurance that ladder will be built in the form of tower. Now, golden tower. There is a kind of a reference to the unbuilt tower, golden tower of London. Of London. Unbuilt golden tower of London. Yes. Yeah. Unbuilt. That was not built, but now here it is built. Unbuilt golden tower of London. The idea was they wanted to construct a 1,000-foot tower. They had made complete engineering designs, everything was ready, and they would have executed any time, you see. All made of iron with gold plates, gold plated afterwards, and the tower would have gone up to 1,000 feet, about 305 meters height, you see, roughly. This was, the proposal was, the idea was to celebrate the Reform Act of British Parliament in 1832. In 1832, they had passed a Reform Act of Parliament, Parliamentary Reform Act. Not the election of members of Parliament on the basis of boroughs, but on the basis of population. Each unit of population will send his representative to the Parliament. That was the Reform Act, Parliamentary Reform Act of 1832. And in order to celebrate this epochal event, one engineer, he took upon himself to design a tower of 1,000 foot, all gold. And they tried many times, but they did not build. Finally, of course, as you know, in 1889, what was built was the Eiffel Tower. See, it was a kind of an echo of what English people wanted to build. So, Eiffel, he built the tower in Paris in 1889. You see. Again, tall, huge, big one. But I don't know whether it is tall enough, 1,000 feet. This tower was, how much, any idea? No. I will have to check that. Yeah. So this golden tower was not built, although it was a great act of reformation in the parliamentary history of 1832. It remained undone. But now, Savitri has built that tower. And only when the tower is built does the birth of a flame child occur. The Agni Palaka comes into living being, as a living being, when the tall tower of 1,000 feet is built. O mind, grow full of the eternal peace. O word, cry out the immortal litany. So, repeated invocations are there, responses are there, and the tower rises. Tower rises. And in the rising of the tower is the birth of the flame child of Agni Balaka. I yoke thee to my power of work in time. I yoke thee to my power. 154.5. I yoke thee to my power of work in time. What is the work in time? I will do in thee my marvelous works, he says. 154.7. I will do in thee my marvelous works. And what is the marvelous work? Bring down God into the lives of men. 154.10. bring down God into the lives of men. Make earth a work chamber and my house. Raise earth to light. Bring God down on earth. These are the marvelous works. Now, these marvelous works, their fulfillment is in building this golden tower. When the golden tower is built, when the flame child is born, then these marvelous works are performed or carried out. It is here that the marvelous works get completed. Yeah, okay, let us take these lines. In the heart of my creation's mystery, I will enact the drama of thy soul, inscribe the long romance of thee and me. I will pursue thee across the century. Thou shalt be hunted through the world by love, naked of ignorance, protecting veil, and without cover from my radiant God. No shame shall screen thee from my divine desire. And then he says earlier, this was what we are seeing now. O sunward, thou shalt raise the earth to soul light to light, and bring down God into the lives of men. Earth shall be my work chamber and my house, my garden of life to plant a seed divine. That is the marvelous work. Now I will do in thee my marvelous works. And he has described all these works. I will fasten thy nature with my cords of strength. Subdue to my delight. I will do in thee in my marvelous works. Now, is it really he who is going to do these marvelous works? No. It is she who will do this marvelous work. He has identified himself so much with Savitri, the true Savitri, in immortal creation, that it is as if he who is doing all these things through her. In fact, when he says, I will do in thee my marvelous work, it is she who is going to do all the marvelous works. All these marvelous works will be done by her, because he is there now, totally, entirely, within her, behind her, completely there, you see, because of his total presence there, that it is she. I will do, that I actually stands for Savitri. I will do in thee my marvelous works, and lay my splendid yoke upon thy soul. See, yoke for what? Ultimately, she has to drive that yoke. She has to carry out that thing, you see. She has to plow the field, yoke, you see. She will do all the marvelous work, you see. So when I say, in other words, this is, I will fasten thy nature with my constant strength. It is my strength which will be there, but it is you who will do all the marvelous works. In other words, she has become a complete and a perfect instrument for him to do the work which he wants to do, to get done. She has become perfect dasi, slave of God. She has become perfect slave of God. So actually, he says, I will do. And in fact, he is not doing anything at all. It is she who will do. It is she who will do all that, you see. Therefore, who has built this tower? Built the golden tower. It is not he who has built the tower. The word cry out immortal litany, build the golden tower, built by her. It is she who is bearing the flame child in her womb. It is she who will give birth to this flame child. Psychic being. Agni, Putra, flame child. Descend to life. Now we come to last but one section of this canto, of this book. Fairly long, 71 sentences, about 300 lines. Descend to life with him, thy heart desires. Now the boon of boons is granted to Savitri. Your heart wants to go back to earth with Satyavan, and therefore it is granted. Let it be so. Tathastu. Descend to life with him, thy heart desires. Descend to life with him, thy heart desires. See. O Satyavan, O luminous Savitri, I sent you forth of old beneath the star, a dual power of God in an ignorant world, in a hatched creation shut from limitless self, bringing down God to the insentient glow, lifting earth being to immortality. Now, first, glow. Bringing down God to the insentient glow. In the Revised Edition, it is globe. In 72 also it is globe. Globe. That sounds more reasonable. Insentient globe, earth. Insentient glow, well, it can be kind of argued. Insentient glow, that is in conscience, still it has that glow in it. It can be kind of argued, you see. But how the glow has become, how globe has become glow, of that we have no idea. At what stage that change has taken place. Whether it is really glow which has been converted into globe, or by some mistake, typographical mistake or printing mistake, glow has become globe. No trace of it is available here. Bringing down God to the insentient world. Now, he is again repeating the same thing. Two things. Bring down God to this world, that is one part of it. The other part is lift earth to immortality. Throughout we have been seeing now. Earlier also we saw similar statements, same kind earlier also. Now, lifting earth being to immortality, that is the task of Savitri. Build the golden tower. She has to do all that. The task of Satyavan is to bring down God to the insentient world. Therefore, dual power, the division of responsibility. One will do this, the other one will do this. The necessity of the dual power. One for bringing down God, one lifting earth to God. I sent you. So the whole purpose is there. Now he says, I sent you for this purpose, for this new creation to happen here. I sent you forth of old beneath the star, a dual power of God in an ignorant world, in a hatched creation shut from limitless self. So the dual now is explained immediately here itself, and therefore Satyavan and Savitri. Satyavan and Savitri. This man is more fond of Savitri than Satyavan. He calls Savitri a luminous Savitri. Satyavan has no adjective of his. Oh, Satyavan, oh, so he is now addressing to Satyavan also. They are standing in front of him there. Why she is luminous and not he? Until now, he was under the grip of death, caught in the inconscience. He is one who is caught in the inconscience. He had taken the station in the inconscience. Therefore, that luminous aspect is not there because the veil of inconscience is there throughout on him. Now that veil is being removed. Savitri has taken the mortal birth, but her luminosity does not get affected by that. Oh Satyavan, oh luminous Savitri, I sent you forth. So these are the aspects of the transformative creation. You may create the world, but to create the divine world, a divine manifestation here, both are required here. In the world of my knowledge and my ignorance, where God is unseen and only is heard in name, and knowledge is trapped in the boundaries of mind, and life is held in the dragnet of desire, and matter hides the soul from its own side. You are my foes at work to uplift earth's fate, mind cell that moves with immense incline between the extremes of the spirit's night and day. So he is now defining what Savitri is. You are my force at work to uplift earth's fate. In the world of knowledge and ignorance, you have been sent to the mortal world, where God is unseen. In the mortal world, God is not seen, and only is heard in name. Sometimes even the name is not heard. Our leftist friends will never say that there is a name also, see. And knowledge is trapped in the boundaries of mind. Yeah, we are confined to mind alone, you see. And life is hauled in the dragnet of desire. So heavy net is there, and you scour the floor of the water to bring out something precious. It is in that sense life is hauled in the dragnet of desire. And matter hides the soul from its own side. So this is the condition of this world. Mind is trapped, life is hauled, matter hides the soul. It is in this state, it is in this world, in this kind of a creation, that I sent you forth. For what purpose? To uplift earth's fate. My cell that moves up the immense incline between the extremes of the spirit's night and day. So this is Savitri and now Satyavan. He is my soul that climbs from nascent night through life and mind, the supernatural swan, to the supernal light of timelessness, and my eternity hid in moving time, and my boundlessness cut by the curve of space. Mother was asked, Savitri, this, etc. But then what about Satyavan? Mother was asked, who is Satyavan? And the mother says, well, he is the avatar. He is the incarnation of the Supreme. Satyavan is the incarnation of the Supreme. He is the permanent avatar in the inconscience. He is the permanent avatar in the inconscience. The first avatar also, obviously. It is he who has plunged into the inconscious and stationed himself there. Now, in her talk, 16th October 1957, let us read that quickly. The creative force which had emanated these four beings, the four beings were sent out, you see. the creative force which had emanated these four beings, essentially for the creation of the world, witnessed what was happening. The creative force witnessed what was happening. They were drifting away and turning into the opposite, you see. And witnessed what was happening and turning to the Supreme, she prayed for the remedy and the cure of the evil that had been done. They have separated themselves from the Supreme, cut out themselves from the Supreme, and they became the opposite. And therefore, the creative force, she goes back to the Supreme. Lord, what do I do now? What has happened? You see, I am helpless. And turning to the Supreme, she prayed for the remedy and the cure of the evil that had been done. Then she was given the command to precipitate her consciousness. She was told to precipitate her consciousness into the inconscience, her love into the suffering, her truth into falsehood, her consciousness, her love, her truth into this creation. And a greater consciousness, a more total love, a more perfect truth than what had been emanated at first, plunge into the horror of matter in order to awaken it in consciousness, love, truth, and to begin movement of redemption, which was to bring the material universe back to its supreme origin. So she was again told, pour your greater consciousness, your greater love, your greater truth into this thing, and it come back. Satyavan came down in response to the prayer of the creative force of the Supreme. So it is the Supreme Himself, when this creative force prayed to Him, to the Lord, then it is He who comes down here and stations Himself in the inconscience with greater love, greater truth, greater consciousness in the inconscience. And then the work unfolds. He is my soul that climbs from nation to night. So he is the evolving soul, the soul of evolution. Satyavan is the soul of evolution. He is my soul that climbs from nation to night to life and mind and supernatural swarm, to the supernal light of timelessness. And my entity, my eternity hid in moving time, my eternity hid in moving time. It is there. We don't feel, we don't experience it. And my boundlessness cut by the curve of space. It climbs, the soul. He is my soul. It climbs to the greatness it has left behind and the beauty and joy from which it fell. Actually, he was helpless. He had to plunge, you see, from which it fell to the closeness and sweetness of all things divine, to light without bounds and life illimitable. Taste the depths of the ineffable bliss. Taste of the depths of the ineffable bliss. Yes, what is there in this abyss, in the darkness, in the inconscience, in the void, to taste that, he kind of plunged into. Touch of the immortal and the infinite. He is my soul that gropes out of the abyss to reach humanity's heights of use and thought and the vicinity of truth sublime. So he is the climbing soul, evolving soul. He is the Godhead, growing in human lives and the body of earth beings to form. He is the soul of man, climbing to God in nature's search out of earth's ignorance. He is the soul of man, climbing to God in nature's search out of ignorance. Oh Savitri, thou art my spirit. So this is what Satyavan is, the evolving soul, the soul of evolution. And who is Savitri? Although he has described, but now he is elaborating. Oh Savitri, thou art my spirit's power. the revealing voice of my immortal word, the face of truth upon the roads of time, the face of truth upon the roads of time. It is in time that you walk, on the roads of time that you walk and do your work, pointing to the souls of men, the routes to God. That is what you are doing. While the dim light from the veiled spirit's beam falls upon matter stark inconsciously, as if a pale moonbeam of a dense glade, and mind is a half-light moves amid half-truth, and the human heart knows only human love, and life is a stumbling and imperfect foes, and the body counts out its precarious days. You shall be born into man's dubious hour in form that hides the soul's divinity, and show through veils all the earth's doubting air. My glory breaking as through clouds the sun, burning like a rare and inward fire, and with my nameless influence fill men's life. So she's given a big task. While the dim light from the veiled spirit speak falls upon matter stark inconsciously, as if a pale moonbeam in a dense glade, and mind is a half-light, moves amid half-truth, and the human heart knows only human love, and life is stumbling and imperfect foes. And so this is what human mind is, human heart is, human body is, and the body counts out its precarious days. You shall be born into man's dubious hour. You shall be born into man's dubious hour in forms that hide the soul's divinity. So your task is not over. You will have to keep on taking birth. You will have to keep on taking birth in forms that hide the soul's divinity till the soul's divinity is fully revealed and show through veils of the earth. Why should we be born? Because he has to show through the veil us doubting my glory breaking as though clouds the sun or burning like a rare and inward fire, and with my nameless influence fill men's life. It is for that purpose he shall be born again and again. Yet shall they look up as to peace of God and feel God like a circumambient air and rest on God as on a motionless base. Yet shall there glow on mind like a horned moon the spirit's crescent splendor in pale sky and light man's life upon Godward road. Horned moon, this phrase we have seen many times, very beautiful occult phrase, horned moon. Now he speaks of crescent. So it is a waxing moon, the moon which is rising, becoming increscent moon, increscent luna. The moon which is rising, which is becoming larger and larger. So this is normally on the fourth day after the no moon night. This horned moon. Its horn pointing upward, rightward. And spirit's crescent splendor in pale sky and light man. Horned moon. We have, this is horned sun. This is not horned moon, horned sun. 9th March. Yeah, 9th March 2016. Horned sun. You can see the eclipse advancing towards that. You see a perfect horn. You see, it's a very rare picture, rare thing. Horned sun. You see, and very beautiful red also here. You see. Yet shall there glow on mind like a horned moon the spirit's crescent splendor in pale sky, and light man's life upon Godward road. But more there is concealed in God's beyond, that shall one day reveal his hidden face. So this is not all. The flame child is born, okay. But then many things have to happen. There is so much concealed in God's beyond. There is so much concealed in God's beyond. It is that which has to come out and see the light of the day here. Now, mind is all and its uncertain ray. Mind is the leader of the body and life. Mind, the thought-driven chariot of the soul, carrying the luminous wanderer in the night to vistas of a far uncertain dawn, to the end of the spirit's fathomless desire, to his dream of absolute truth and utter bliss. So, presently, this creation is governed by mind, is what it says. But then there is so much concealed in God's beyond. It is that thing which has to come out, you see. There are greater destinies mind cannot surmise, cannot imagine, cannot understand also. Fixed on the summit of the evolving path, the path is moving forward, evolving, growing further also. The traveler now treads in the ignorance, unaware of his next step, not knowing his goal. So what is going to happen is, presently, the traveler is moving on the roads of ignorance. But what is going to happen is, the traveler will move on the roads of knowledge. It will be from more knowledge, from less knowledge to greater knowledge. More knowledge, more knowledge, more knowledge. Now it is from ignorance to knowledge. It will be from knowledge to knowledge. Unaware of his next step, not knowing his goal. Mind is not all his tireless climb can dream. There is a far, the apex of the world. There is a house of the eternal light. So you have to go on that move. See, that goal is there, that road is there, and you have to move on. There is an infinite truth, an absolute power. The Spirit's mightiness shall cast off its mask. Yes, the Spirit has put on the mask. It must give up this mask. Its greatness shall be felt, shaping the world's course. It shall be seen in its own wellness beam, a star rising from the unconscious night, a sun climbing to supernature's beam. So in other words, he is now tracing the future course of evolution, basically. Future course of evolution when Satyavan and Savitri descend upon earth. Abandoning the dubious middle way. Now what is this dubious middle way? There are many ways of looking at it, but here in the context, the dubious way obviously means the way by which things are moving because of mind. Mind. He has described all the mental problems, mental difficulty. Abandoning the dubious middle way, a few shall glimpse the miraculous origin, and some shall feel in you the secret fold, and they shall turn to meet a nameless trail, adventurous into a mightier day. So, this mental being, there are some among the mental beings who shall glimpse the miraculous origin of what is happening here. There is a possibility of the mental being, few of them opening to that particular thing, you see. And some shall feel in you the secret force, and they shall turn to meet a nameless trail, adventurous into a mightier day. Now here, of course, he says, first, a few shall glimpse. Out of a few, some shall feel. I think we are very far away from this few and from this some. We are still caught in the dubious middle way, you see. If at all, you see. We are on the way. Now this is of course going to happen when Satyavan and Savitri come back to earth, and then they will be caught up and move. Ascending out of the limiting breadths of mind, they shall discover the world's huge design and step into the truth, the right, the vast. They shall step into the truth, the right, the vast. Satyam Ritam Brahat. That is the Upanishadic phrase. Satyam, truth. Ritam, right. Brahat, vast. It is a literal translation of Satyam Ritam Brahat. and step into the truth, the right, the transcendental domains. Ascending out of the limiting breaths of mind, they shall discover the world's huge design. See, he said some and few. So among them, some of them will see what is the purpose of this world, what is their design, what it is up to, and all that kind of a thing. This is an advanced description of what Mother has described in the supramental boat. What the Mother has described in the supramental boat. She was standing there, who will go and who will come out, who will not be allowed to go inside and all that thing. She was saying all that thing, see. The supramental boat. Ascending out of the meeting place. Therefore, you shall reveal to them the hidden eternities. Reveal to them, those who are admitted on the boat. You shall reveal to them the hidden eternity, the breadth of infinitude not yet revealed. This one, well, we have seen this one, it shall be seen in its own, abandoning the middle way. Middle way is the mental being. Now, if you see 154.13, abandon the dubious middle way, mental being. Now, we have got a line here, I am not able to trace exactly. Mind is the leader of the body life. Mind is the leader of the body life. Now, that is exactly the phrase which is used in the Mundaka Upanishad. Mind is the leader of the body life. What he says is, Manomaya Prana Sharira Neta. Manomaya, mental being, is the leader of the vital being in the body, in the physical. Vital being in the physical, his leader is the mental being. Manomaya Prana Sharira. Now it is that Manomaya Prana Sharira Neta has to be now transcended. The mental being who is the leader of the being in the vital physical, it is that he has to be transcended, and a higher being than the Manomaya Purusha, the mental being, has to come. In other words, abandoning the dubious middle way means beyond the mental being, the supramental being or Superman being or Surom being, it is he who will come and take charge of things. Ascending out of the breasts of mind, and step into the truth, the right, the vast. You shall reveal to them the hidden eternity, the breadth of infinitudes not yet revealed, some rapture of the bliss that made the world, some rush of the force of God's omnipotence, some beam of the omniscient mystery. So, bliss, force, omniscience, all these things will be revealed by you. You shall reveal to them the hidden eternities. So he says now here very clearly that it is not I who is going to reveal, it is you who will reveal. You shall reveal to them the hidden eternity, some being the omniscient mystery. But when the hour of the divine draws near, the mighty Mother shall take birth in time, and God be born into the human clay in forms made ready by your human lives.
This is the miraculous origin. No? The miraculous origin refers to the coming of the Superman.
Yeah, so he is driving towards that. Yes. But for the Superman or intermediate being or the Surom to arrive, she will have to take many births.
She will come again and again.
Again, in forms made ready by your human lives.
So Mother has to come again.
Yeah, she has to carry on this particular work, you see. Yeah. But she, no, a certain thing has been done. What was required, what has to be done. Now it is time she will have to work out certain things in between. When they are ready, she will come, take them forward.
She will come into this human life.
Yeah. She has, in many human lives, in forms made ready by your human lives.
That means she is coming as mother, or she is coming a portion in many.
For whatever work is to be done at that time, it is for that purpose she will come.
Yeah, but she will come again as mother.
Yes, of course. But not necessarily in the same manner. Now this has to be got done, and she will come only for that particular purpose. She will come for that particular purpose. She will come again for that particular purpose. Till the forms are made ready.
Yeah. So how can we find her?
We don't know what she will do. We had to do our own work.
But you see here when he says the miraculous origin, this will go on for many centuries now. The miraculous origin, the few shall give so what, the few shall understand what's going on, but it will go on for many lives.
Well, see, basically, what is required is the inner personality of the Superman has to be first built. See, when man arrives, it means that inside, in the subliminal, the mental Purusha, his character, his mental being, it is that which is carried out and built up in the subliminal. Then he manifests, all the organs come out. In the same manner, first within, whatever is required for that to happen has to be built within. And for that, the mother says it may take 300 years, it may take 500 years, you see, all that thing. For that, many lives are a part of that game. The inner, the psychic being has to, for its expression, make instruments ready within, in the subliminal. When they are ready, then it comes out, and manifests as a full being. So that is the process. See, I will not say that mother has failed. That is the wrong way of looking at things. It's not that thing at all. Whatever was required to be done at this particular point of time has been done. Now, the inner being has to be built around the psychic so that the supramental faculties find their centers of action within us. When they are ready, then the full manifestation takes place. Then only full manifestation. Then shall the truth supreme be given to men. Now, forms made ready by your human lives. In forms made ready by your human lives. Then shall the truth supreme be given. I sent you these notes, but we'll quickly see a couple of them in the context. See, mother has said why she has to really come again. Indirectly, she has hinted how her coming is necessary again and again. She has kind of told in her talk. This morning, for 2 hours, I had what I believe to be really the most wonderful experience in my life from the point of view of knowledge vision. And it was so total, from the most essential perception of that which is beyond the creation, down to the perception of the body's cells, from high to low, and in every plane, the vision of the creation. It went on for 2 hours. I walked about, had my wash, it didn't matter in the least. On the contrary, there was added to that the knowledge of how the body can act without disturbing the state of consciousness. Afterwards, there was slight flagging. Now that has to go away. For that again a preparation is required. I can't say the memory, but all the complaint, the same thing as the balcony of Darshan Dev, the human attitude, etc., etc. Then it was as if the body were asking, what attitude? What attitude should I have? What should I do? Because there was the vision of life, death, of all circumstances. Everything was there, the full knowledge of everything. Oh, the whole part about death was very, very interesting, and how mankind has tried to understand how they have all kinds of solutions, partial attitudes, and all of it was part of the whole. Now it is that work which she has to carry on further. You see. So the conclusion, all the different intellectual and even spiritual attitudes of mankind, there aren't big differences. Whether they are intellectual or spiritual, there aren't big differences, she says. The spiritual boils down to the whole attempt at finding the divine again by annulling the creation. By annulling the creation. That is the spiritual. That's what has been regarded as spiritual life. To annul the creation in order to find the divine again, and then now, the vision of now. We are obviously drawing nearer to the moment of possibility. We are drawing to the moment of possibility. That is clear. It is a question of time. It is a question of time. Of course, question of time, when she says, she has to do it. She has to carry out the work in time. Your work in time. It can't be the human scale, but we are on the borderline. Borderline. So by human life, she has to go further up. And as I said, the body asked, it had such a wonderful moment, a few minutes, when it knew how it ought to be. It was magnificent. Then experience came. Till then, it was inexpressible. It was lived. It was a living consciousness, but the mind had become very quiet, so it was inexpressible, etc. The last experience is like a purge of all vibrations that are false vibrations, that aren't the pure and simple response to the supreme influence. Then with an aspiration or a decision, almost a prayer for purification coming from the body, something happens which naturally upsets the balance. The imbalances in turn brings about a general discomfort. The form discomfort takes is habitually the same, etc. That created a sort of conflict. The consciousness remained very clear. The consciousness of the body remained very clear, very quiet, perfectly trusting. For 2 hours I was able to follow the process until I felt, or rather was told sufficiently clearly, that the Lord wanted my body to be completely immobile for a while so that He might complete His work. I saw the work that was being done, a work that cannot be done if you go on moving about. I saw the work. It took nearly half an hour. In half an hour it was over, which means there is a fact I cannot doubt, even if all the surrounding thoughts and forces contradicted. I cannot doubt that the consciousness is increasingly more and more, the consciousness in the body. It is growing more and more precise, luminous, exact, quiet, very peaceful in the body, very conscious of a tremendous battle against millennial habits. When it was over, I saw that even physically, bodily, there is a strength. The result is an increased strength, a very clearly increased strength. But it's all going on. So she has to come again and again. Now there's a great battle against all the ideas and habits, the sensation, the possibilities, everything concerning death. Death, not death in the sense of the consciousness departing. No, what the cells must feel, and all the possibilities are present to be with that consciousness. When the heart stops beating and is understood that according to human ignorance you are dead, how does the force that groups all those cells together abdicate its will to uphold them together? Naturally, I was told right away by that force, that consciousness which holds everything together in really subconscious cells, etc. So she says, its own will ultimately. So now it is that work which is going on here. Now she says, when the heart stops beating and is understood that according to the human ignorance, you are dead. We have these things, 112.52, what Narada said in the book of Veda.
No breathing, no breathe.
Here we are missing 1940, 48, 49, 49. A day may come when she must stand, a day may come when she must stand unheld on the dangerous brink of the world's doom and hers. Carrying the world's future on her lonely breast, she must cross alone a perilous bridge in time and reach an apex of world destiny where all is won or all is lost for man. In the tremendous silence, lone and lost, of a deciding hour in the world's fate, in her soul's climbing beyond mortal time, when she stands soul with death or soul with God, you see, she's standing with soul with God, apart upon a silent, desperate brink, alone with the self and death and destiny, as on a verge between time and timelessness, when being must end or life rebuild its base, alone she must conquer or alone must fall. No human aid, etc., etc. And then he says, even if he seems to leave her, see, even the Supreme himself may leave her, seems to leave her to her lone strength, even though all falters and falls and sees an end, and heart fails, and only are death and night. Exactly, heart fails, and only are death and night. God given, her strength can battle against doom. That is what he said, my strength is with you, she is telling her. Even on a brink where death alone seems close, and no human strength can hinder or can help. So, that is the corroboration of when the hour of the divine draws near, the mighty mother shall take birth in time, and God be born into the human clay in forms made ready by your human lives. When she does all that, then shall the truth supreme be given to men. Then shall the truth supreme be given to men. There is a being beyond the being of mind, an immeasurable cast into many forms, a miracle of the multitudinous one. There is a consciousness mind cannot turn, its speech cannot utter, nor its thought reveal. It has no home on earth, no center in man. That's the whole point. It has no home. There is no center. A center has to be built in the inner being of man, near the soul. You see. That has to be built. It has no home on earth, no center in man, yet is the source of all things, and thought and done, the fount of the creation and its works. It is the originator of all truth here, the sonor of mind's fragmentary rain. Infinity is heaven that spilled the rain of God, the immense that calls on man's expansion, the wide aim that justifies his narrow attempt, a channel for the little he takes of it. It is the originator. There is no sense, see, there is no center, there is no man. It is the originator. It has no home on earth. It stands for its speech, etc., all that. It is the originator of all truth. Now this word originator,
Origin, no?
it is not origin, it is originator.
What is the difference?
Yeah, one who kind of makes things happen in the originator. It's a very beautiful word. Well, actually, I think this has a connection with the originaire in French. In French, originaire. Shivandu is using here a French word. The verb originaire in French is used to determine the source, the roots, the place of birth or origin of things or person. Originaire. So it is basically the French word which is used here. It is the originaire of all, the root, the source of things from which it happens. It is not the originaire who makes things origin begin. It is the originaire of all truth here, the source, the root, which determines the whole growth of the person. It is the originaire of all truth here, the sonor of mind's fragmentary rays. Infinity is heaven that spilled the rain of God, the man that calls to man to expand his spirit. The wide aim that justifies his narrow attempt, a channel for the little he tastes of the sun shall be made a glory receptacles. Sun and vehicle to the eternal's luminous power. These are the high forerunners. See, he is describing a sum and few, no? The whole narration is there. These are the high forerunners, the heads of time, the great deliverers of earthbound mind, the high transfigurers of human clay, the firstborn of a new supernal race. So that is the beginning of a new race with these people. The incarnate dual power shall open God's door, eternal supermind, touch earthly time. The incarnate dual power. Now, the incarnate dual power again, that thing, Satyavan and Savitri, shall open God's door. So, all that things is going to happen because of them. Lift up earth to God, bring God down upon earth.
But that happened 1956, no?
Eternal supermind, touch up. Huh?
That did already, 1956,
Yeah.
no? That's eternal supermind, that is not.
Yeah, now supermind touch earthly time. Now he says the incarnate dual power shall open God's door. Okay, now the shall open is futuristic here, but it has happened now. The door has been smashed. I took a golden hammer and in one single stroke smashed the door and it broke into pieces. And supermind touched, not touched, touched earthly time.
It's already happened.
Touched, yeah. So this was written in 49, but it has happened now. Within 6 years. Within 6 years. But he has described the entire sequence of how it is going to happen.
He saw it.
He is going to,
He saw it.
yeah. He has described the entire sequence how it is going to happen, you see.